But what are our options? If you don't like Horn, what other options have you got?
Well,
First of all, does she have a primary opponent?
that's where I was going with this. I don't believe we have any Democrats that have stepped up to run against her.
Okay. Okay.
Which leaves this field of Republicans.
So in other words, the Democrats don't like crowbars taken to their knees. Okay, let's move to the Republicans. There's a bunch of them.
Oh my
and forgive us if we don't catch them all, but catch some of the names you know. I'll try to add what I know.
Okay, there's Michael Ballard.
Yes.
David Green.
David Green. Now, what do you know about him?
He's a veteran, but his big claim to fame is that he was a movie producer and he worked with Dinesh D'Souza on his films.
Okay. So there's him. Is he well funded?
Not particularly.
Okay, and then Ballard's known amongst grassroots conservatives, right?
Yes, very grassroots.
I think some of the guys at Oak Pack like Ballard.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. Okay, and Ballard's a veteran.
He is. He is. Army.
Okay.
Medically retired, I believe.
Okay. All right.
And then we have Terry Neese.
Okay.
Who is absolutely the darling of the Republican establishment.
Yeah, now Terry has been, that's a name I've heard. I've been in the Republican Party since the 80s. And it seems like I've heard Terry Neese's name involved with the party that long.
Yeah.
My understanding is she's been involved in business and a lot of different organizations. She's just very established central Oklahoma name.
Yes.
I think she's from Edmond.
I wouldn't be surprised if she lives in Edmond now.
All good Republicans live in Edmond.
As they should. I'm a terrible Republican for moving to Yukon, I know.
Well, that's out of county. I'm saying if you have to live in Oklahoma
County, that's the place to go.
Yeah. Okay. So, you've got those names. There's a few others. Now, one guy pulled out was Belcher, right?
Yes, Dan Belcher. He was into real estate development, and he was self-financing for the most part through his business efforts. And he announced that he was pulling out not too long ago. In fact, just after the time when Mike McCulley announced he was going to be running for sheriff.
Okay.
And
so
then State Senator
but
Stephanie
let's get the rest of Belcher. He's running for a legislative seat, isn't he?
I believe he did shift gears in that direction to go for the House.
Do you know which district or?
I do not.
Who's in it? I'd heard something about that. Chris Kennedy is the incumbent.
Okay.
So, anybody else?
As I was just saying, State Senator Stephanie Bice, Senate District 22.
Okay. Now that's somebody. I think my friend Al Gerhardt is saying she scored about the lowest anybody could score in his Trump index last year. And
so I think that translates into the common accusations of rhino-ness.
Yeah. Well, I think what Al's going to do, getting closer to the primary, is probably say, no, Stephanie, if you say you're going to help get Trump's agenda passed, let's look at how much you've worked on, and he'll go over that detail by detail. So that'll be an interesting thing to see. But, she's in many ways been the darling of the GOP younger generation.
Well, absolutely. And she has shown an ability to a lesser degree, kind of like a smaller version of what we've seen with Kendra Horn on the fundraising side. She's been able to bring in a lot of money from elsewhere.
Yeah. Yes, she has.
And
I guess some East Coast money's really come her way.
Well, and from the other side as well, and a smattering of other places. But she's able to be fairly well funded that way, and she, I'm not necessarily saying this is a negative, but she knows how to campaign like a Democrat.
Okay.
She runs a very well-oiled political machine, which is to be differentiated from machine politics.
Yeah. Now, I have to say, one of the things that you and I in our media operations like is candidates or office holders who remain accessible.
Yes.
Right? And Stephanie has done that. When I need to know something, Stephanie's usually quick to respond, whether it's in person or social media. I like that.
Mhm.
I like that. I think there's some things that the old guard isn't as adept in, and I
Yeah.
think it hurts them if they're
I,
not.
I agree entirely. Abbreviation I like to use, military guys with acronyms, APC, not armored personnel carrier, but accessibility, presence in the community, and constituent services.
Yes. Yeah.
Again, two things that Senator Bice and Representative Horn have very much in common.
Yeah.
You see them out in the community at the community events, Chamber of Commerce events, community coffees, very, very accessible.
Oh, yeah. Oh, constituent. Let me tell you, the night Jim Bridenstine won for the first time,
Yes.
election night, I'm in the back room at his watch party with him and Gabe and Matt and all of his core campaign people who were going to make up his transition in his new organization. And I said, guys, you get with, and I mentioned the guy who would run veteran services for the incumbent leaving office, John Sullivan. I said, you get with him and learn how to do veteran services, because you don't take care of the vets, you aren't going to stay in office.
Oh, yeah.
Not in this date and time, because we're asking a lot of sacrifice from our military people.
And we have a lot of them in Oklahoma.
Yes, and we need to take care of them, when the bombs quit dropping and they have to transition to civilian life. And they've got a lot more aches and pains and wounds that haven't healed, And so, yeah, I get that. Constituent services is big. So that's good to know. That's good to know.
And for a lot of voters, a lot of constituents, and this is going to be especially true with Kendra Horn. Those constituent services is going to be far more important than voting records.
Yeah.
That's going to be what people are going to vote based on.
I think you're right. And, image is really important in congressional races. Bice has done a good job of the imaging stuff. Her people have made her look good. I had to say, and I'm gonna be brutally frank, but take it as constructive criticism. If Terry Neese's people, the first campaign information I saw, I think I went to her website, and it listed all of these different fraternal organizations and clubs and societies that she's all a part of. Holy crap, that just makes it look like you're the golf course country club set. And I really had a problem with that. It was the stuffy upper crust look. And that ain't going to cut it.
Right. That's very, very traditional, very, very traditional Republican, very establishment, very insider. And there's pushback against that. Not necessarily at the grassroots level per se, but the average person on the street. Particularly when you're looking at when you get to the general election, it's time to go after those millennial swing voters.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. And really, that's where Kendra won last time.
Yeah, and to be absolutely politically incorrect about this, at one of Michael Ballard's speaking events, I asked him, I'm a millennial voter. I've never really been involved in politics. Now you're running. I've heard of these other people. Why should I vote for you instead of the rich old lady or the nice young lady?
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a couple of rich old ladies. I'm sorry.
No.
Janet Parisi's also.
Yeah, she's also running. And there's nothing wrong with being rich.
And as Pam Pollard said, I worked hard for these wrinkles.
That's right. That's right. Even the former president of China said to get rich is glorious.
Yeah. But, and that's the thing. We do have an imaging matter. There's always the moving to the next generation, raising up the next generation. But there's something to be said for the wisdom of people who've been around the block.
Right.
When they tried to use that against Ronald Reagan in '84, Mondale was saying, how old he is, and he said, I will not exploit for political purposes
my opponent's inexperience.
Youth and inexperience, yes. And so, it's a vital thing. But again, you got to get people excited about you. You've got to get some passion out there.